Hi, it's December 27th, year of our Lord, 2024.
Using free speech to free minds.
So a lot's been happening lately, and I hope everybody enjoyed their day today. I know I had a long day today myself, but it was a prosperous day and a productive day, and I got the most out of my day, and I hope that everybody else has as well. I wonder how everybody else is doing out there. Again, blessings and prayers to you and your loved ones. So, it turns out that Texas Representative Kay Granger went missing. Now, this is the thing. Nobody noticed that Representative Granger went missing. And this lady, this representative, has not had a vote in 5 months, going on 6 months in a week. And so it turns out that there was an investigative journalist who started tracking her down, found her wandering the streets of Fort Worth. Turns out that she's got full-blown dementia. Her family already sold her home. She's living in a retirement facility. And it looks like her staff and her party covered for her. Take a guess what party covered for her. If you said the Democrats, you'd be wrong. This time it was the Republicans, for God's sake. Why did the Republicans cover for her? Because they only have a couple of votes. That's it. They only have a few extra votes. And now, with Trump becoming president and nominating people, he's got 1 vote extra. That's it. When Trump became president in his first term, he had 45 extra votes. So, we're talking the slimmest of slim margins now for the House. And, you know, Republicans were right to call out the Democrats for Biden's dementia and covering for him. You know, a story just came out to dovetail off this story about the D.C. press and Biden's staff covering for him. Not in 2023 or 2024, but in 2020, when he was elected. They were worried about Joe Biden the day he took office. Now, look, we have to be honest. It's not right for either party, anybody, to cover for somebody who has dementia. Again, I feel sorry for anybody who has dementia. I've had relatives who have had this in my family. But I would not pretend that they didn't have dementia for my political, for a political win, I guess. For an extra vote. This is why we need term limits. This is why we need the eject button. This is why we need age requirements. You know, hey, if you're too young to serve, you're also too old to serve. You know? I mean, why can't we say that? I mean, you know, everybody's so worried with being offended. You know, but there comes an expiration date on everything, and including people. And we shouldn't pretend that there is no expiration date for people, because everybody is leaving this planet one way or another. We could either leave with dignity and honor, or as fools and liars. It's up to us individually how we choose to do that. Oh, thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate it. So, again, you know, here we have a representative, you know, serving Texas, who went missing. Where was the media? Where were they? Where were they? I mean, the people who work for her, these people have huge staff. Nobody notified anybody? No, they kept it silent. Look, they kept it silent for a reason, because they wanted to protect their own jobs too. And we got the shaft. We should get our money back for all the pay that Representative Granger got, quite frankly. Hey Amy, how you doing, hon? Hey, I hope you're doing good. We're just sitting here tonight, calling out the corruption. And some people can't handle that, They want copium. They're looking for somebody to bootlick for their party. Great thing about me is I'm part of neither party. So I can call them out on all sides. So, another story came out talking about the Pentagon cannot account for $824 billion of your money. But if you fail to disclose your own name, address, date of birth as a business owner to the IRS, or if you fail to disclose a $600 transaction involving your own money, pay the IRS for the privilege of inheriting property that your relative already paid for, or let's say you make a minor miscalculation when reporting your own income, you get fined and go to jail. However, the Pentagon and the IRS get rewarded with more funding and power over our lives by both parties. Okay? It seems to me, and I'm just an outsider looking in, that the citizenry need to reclaim who the boss is in this relationship. The civil servants think that they're the boss. They're not the boss. We are the boss. We are the ones who are supposed to be running the show. But they act like they own us. Okay? And, it's completely ridiculous. And, how long do I think term limit should be for? Well, first, I think that the Senate, first off, we have to understand something. We're not a democracy, right? We're a constitutional republic. And the way the Senate was set up was that governors got to pick who the senators were. And what that did was it kept idiots from being elected, right? So I'd like to go back to that. But when talking about term limit for congressmen, maybe, if it's a 4-year term or a 5-year term, 6-year term, two terms, maybe 3. Again, I don't want them there so long that it becomes a lifetime career. We have to understand something about people in Congress. They start out as lawyers, okay? Lawyers, what do? They constantly lie for their clients. Their whole job is to lie for their clients, right? So by the time they get to Congress, or as a mayor, or a governor, these people are great at lying, right? They look you in the face, tell you how wonderful you are, and how much they're going to fight for you, and then they get in there, and then they start stealing right in front of you. They start stealing. They don't even hide it. A story just came out. Vivek Ramaswamy, he told you exactly how he felt. Don't forget, this is a guy who said some of the most awful things about MAGA, about Trump, when he was running for office. Oh, he was vicious. I remember I used to watch him. And then something strange happened with Vivek. What was it? Oh, that's right. Trump took him in. Like a stepchild, Trump has this way of getting people and getting them to do what he wants them to do. And God bless Trump. He's very smart. Here he took a guy who was calling Trump every name in the book, okay? Out in the open, anybody can look it up. Calling his voters complete idiots, which he did again just recently, basically called you nothing but low-life losers, okay? And actually putting foreigners, he wants to put foreign workers over you. This is Vivek. That's not what Trump ran on. Trump didn't run on that, you know? And poor Elon, now Elon is saddled with this guy. I seen Elon trying to defend him. You know, poor Elon's getting sideswiped by this idiot, Vivek, who also is bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical industry, might I add. But again, we have to understand a lot of these people in politics come from a lawyer's background. What made Trump so incredible is that he's not a lawyer, but boy, he knows how to fight lawyers. I mean, here's a guy that just doesn't put up with anybody's BS. And you got to respect him, whether if you support him or not. Trump comes out swinging for him and for his people. And I respect that about him. Now, I don't have to agree with him on everything, and I certainly don't. When I agree with him, I praise him. When I don't, I call him out on it. Now, speaking of lawyers lying for their clients, Luigi Benioni, he went back to court the other day, and you got to see the lawyer. Dresses him up like a little schoolboy. She's dressed just like him. They look like Bopsy twins. And here you have her saying in oath, swearing an oath, my client cooperated with everyone, and he is just a young man, confused young man. Really? He's confused. And he cooperated. What were those pictures of him thrashing around in Pennsylvania, screaming? Almost got several officers injured. What happened to that back injury, Luigi? Right? That kind of flew out the window. I guess you're not going to get your comp case on that one. But the lawyer was clearly lying for this kid. And, I call him a kid out of sarcasm. He's not a kid. He's a grown adult. And I hope they treat him as an adult and not as a young kid. Because he planned it. He had a motive. He knew what he was doing. Okay? Terrorized the city. Murdered somebody. Who knows how much they've spent on this guy already. Okay? So, it gets even better with Luigi. So, he's everyone's heartthrob on the left. I mean, they are just hard and horny for this guy. So, while in jail, Luigi received over 190 messages from his admirers. Could you imagine these women, how hard up that they are? Okay? That they're chasing this guy. Now, I'm not saying he ain't good looking, but if you're trying to get a future, ladies, you might want to aim for somebody with a little bit higher prospects, okay? Then he has over 70 emails and 125 physical letters. Ooh, could be a few nudes in there that they tried to send. But here's the part that gets me, and maybe you guys can agree or disagree. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. So, he's had over 270 deposits to his commissary account. Think about what I just said. 270 deposits to his commissary account. Now, I don't have the number. We looked. I have somebody working on it to get me the exact number of what was donated to him. But you got to remember what this was all over. The cause of these people, it's a good cause, but they went about it the wrong way. Hey, people are being denied coverage. Very serious. If you or somebody you know has been denied, or like me, I had 4 surgeries this year on my throat. By the grace of God, I could pay my bills. By the grace of God, I got through them. But let me tell you, a lesser person, it could have crushed them, the bills that I got. Okay? we're talking, this could wipe out somebody's savings times 5, okay? The average person, okay? The bills that I got. Now, sure, you get the bill. Nobody opens up that bill and goes, yeah, yes, I can't wait to pay for that. No, you're angry, you're upset, especially when you understand it should be more affordable, right? But what you don't do is go out there and kill somebody. Now, how does New York State handle this case? Well, instead of bringing him in through the sewers like they do everyone else, they put on a big show for this guy. Several helicopters. You know, they're bringing him in like he's Robert De Niro, back before he was woke, right? So they're bringing this guy in like he's a movie star. They did the perp walk. But then, New York State gives him a $1 bail. That's it. Look it up. His bail is $1. Now, what signal does that send? I mean, look what they did to Daniel Penny. They railroaded that guy. You know, he didn't get a $1 bail, right? But they gave him a $1 bail because, again, the left, I'm going to tell you, if this guy goes to trial in New York, if they keep that trial in New York, I'm not sure if he's going to be convicted. Okay, this could be another OJ. I have a feeling this Luigi case is going to be another OJ. I can feel it. Because people are putting their anger against common sense. And that's the problem. Okay? And so, now, why isn't Luigi walking? Well, his bail's only $1 because he has federal charges. And those are no bail. So if not for the federal government holding him accountable, New York State would have let him go for $1. That's kind of astonishing. I think what he said was bleep and really an insult to America.'re right. Thank you, Anthony. I really appreciate it. I wonder how other people feel about that. Now, why the 200? Why the deposits bothered me with the commission is because, you know, these people who were donating to this guy, Luigi, who, by the way, was not no poor sap, right? This guy had a $300 million will, inheritance, that was coming his way, had he just kept his hands to himself. But these people are giving it to him instead of pulling their money together. Hey, let's crowdfund. Let's start a business to help people that get dropped, help people with their medical bills, right? No, they're not doing that. They're helping this guy rather than helping that cancer patient that they say that they care about, or somebody with another type of disease. You know, there are people out there that need the help. That money could have went to feed a starving child, could have done anything else. You gave it to that guy? Unbelievable. So that's why that bothered me. That this story is like the gift that keeps on giving. Now, speaking of lunatics, the climate cult strikes again. Because they showed up to ruin another Christmas tree by spraying it with orange paint. Now, I don't know if the orange paint was a symbol that, hey, Trump's president now, so we use orange paint. I have no clue if that's why they use orange. But here's a suggestion. How about, instead of trying to ruin Christmas for everyone else, you worry about the $41 billion that went missing in the climate fund for the World Bank. So you understand here what's going on. These lunatics, first off, who say that they're for, clean air, clean earth and all this nonsense, climate change, destroy a tree, totally ruining everything on it, right? So that's going in the dump, right? Can't use any of that stuff anymore. But then, not only do they destroy something that could have been used again, right? Their welfare fund, because really climate change is nothing but a transfer of wealth. It's welfare. It's climate welfare. There's 41 billion that went missing. How much of that 1 billion is ours? I guarantee you, if it's a world climate fund, we got 40 billion of that. It's ours. You know? Because the rest of the world isn't as stupid as we are. And anyway, so I just think that, you know, and think about all the paper that was wasted and missing, right? Who got that $40 billion? Hey, Mr. Bill Gates and, what was that vice president? Al Gore? You know, another guy who owned several homes and leaves the lights on when he's flying private, telling us how to live and raise our kids. But let me leave you with this. For those who don't know or understand, okay, Christ was born in a manger. No Santa or elves were there. There were only shepherds, their flocks, and the angels. Just for the climate people, so they understand what Christmas was really about, okay? It wasn't about the toys. It wasn't about some fictional character. Oh, I hope I didn't ruin it for the left, because they think government is Santa. But, you know, there was nobody coming down the chimney. Okay, that's not what it's about. I mean, it's a fun tale to tell your kids, okay? But that's not what it's about. So you can go out and look like a bleep and destroy all the trees you want, okay? You're going to be held liable. You should go to prison for that, okay? You should pay a fine, okay? And we're going to keep celebrating Christmas. You know, just like every other faith celebrates their holidays, okay? We are not going to cower to you, your blue hair or orange paint. It ain't happening. So, where's everybody from? Where are you guys from? Who am I talking to? Anybody? Anybody has a question or anything? I don't see any questions. Okay, well, I guess moving on. So, I don't want to take up too much space waiting around, but if you guys seriously have a question, throw it in there. I'll answer it. So, it's that time of the year when Ron Paul's son, comes out and releases his Festivus report, the airing of grievances. Now, if anybody's watched Seinfeld, the Festivus episode goes down as an all-time classic. And the airing of grievances is great when Costanza goes, I got a lot of problems with you people. And that's one of my favorite episodes. I must have watched it 100 times. But I picked out, now he had hundreds of things that government waste our tax dollars on. But I just picked a few of them. And I'm wondering how everybody feels about these things here that were wasted. Okay, now you're not going to get this on Fox News. You're not going to get this on CNN, okay? I'm going to give it to you like it is. So here we go. The State Department. Here's a department that's really done such a great job over the past few decades. They gave, check this out, $4.8 million to Ukrainian influencers. Now, you know, oh, we're there, you know, to defend democracy, as the guy who played the piano with his penis is running the country. He shut down voting. Now, in the United States, let me tell you, when we had the Civil War, World War I, World War II, we voted, okay? Vietnam, okay? where 58,000 of our brothers and sisters were killed. We were voting, okay? First Gulf War, second War on Terror, okay? We kept voting. Now, in Ukraine, they stopped voting because Zelensky said it would be too hard, to vote under these terms. Okay? He's too busy counting his money in the Swiss Alps. Him and Biden. So yeah, you gave, and I gave, $4.8 million to Ukrainian influencers. Now, that's just the first one. Number 2, HHS, Health and Human Services. How wonderful are they, huh? They've done such a great job, COVID and everything. Well, guess what? They awarded $2 million in grants to study kids looking at Facebook ads about food. This is where your buddy is going, okay? Okay, when they're looking in you in your face going, I'm looking out for you and your family and we're going to take care of you. Well, they blew $2 million in grants at kids playing games on Facebook, watching ads about food. Like, what did you learn from that, right? Ridiculous. Moving on. No, Julie, I'm definitely not kidding. Hey, Sarah Henry. Meow, my beautiful goddaughter. So, hey, Cousin Mike, how you doing, buddy? So, it gets even better. So, my third one in Rand Paul's airing of grievances, the DOS, Department of State, another wonderful agency that has really done great things for the country, spent $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. What is going on here? Does the Department of State have nothing better to do? First off, who are the people that got that money? Like, hey, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to fill out a form to get a grant for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. It is complete nonsense, okay, that our tax dollars went to absolute filth like that. Moving on to number 4. The Department of State allocated $32,000, you're going to love this. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, for breakdancing research. Now, when I grew up in Flatlands, Brooklyn, and Jersey City, all right? People were breakdancing in the street. They did the boom boxes, and people were doing all sorts of stuff, okay? We didn't need to research it. This is the most stupid. It's almost as, when I see stuff like that, it's almost like they have so much money, they're just trying to find something to get rid of it. Who was breakdancing that got that money? I want to meet the guy who got that money. So, this one, if you're a conservative, if you believe in alternative media like me and other great broadcasters out there, you're going to really love this one. Because this just tells you how much they actually care about you. The Department of State blown $330,000 to fund censorship of conservative media. It is bad enough the government wastes their money, but it's another thing to spend our tax dollars to undermine your freedom. Okay? So, we have a First Amendment for a reason. And the First Amendment is so we can redress our government and let them know freely without being victimized by the government, okay? To let them know and hold them accountable. Here you have the government literally spending more money than most people will ever hold in their hand, okay, at once, to fund destroying conservative media, okay? Well, come after me because I'm not going to shut up. You're going to have to lock me up. I'm going to be like the great Irwin Schiff, who was a tax protester who died in prison. I'll God bless him too. If you want to read a good book if you want to read a good book about the government and how tyrannical they are, read The Government Mafia. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. That gentleman died in prison for our freedoms, and I want everybody to please check it out. I believe the Ukrainian I believe the Ukrainian president, he ain't anything for no war. They keep printing money. We don't even have any. Make it worthless, putting more than deficit. You know what, Amy? You're 100% right. And thank you for that. We have to understand something, people. We have to understand something. And again, you're not going to get it from CNN. You're not going to get it from Fox. You're just not. This money, every dollar I just said, okay, we borrowed it and printed it, okay? We are at the point, okay, where we have to monetize the debt because even other countries don't want to buy our debt no more, right? They understand, hey, the jig is up. We're not going to pay them back. You know we're not going to pay them back. I know they're not going to pay them back. But more importantly, the creeps in D.C. who prostitute for that money, no, they're not going to get paid. No, that they're not going to pay them back. So what happens is, and I'm glad, Amy, that you brought that up. The Federal Reserve monetizes the debt. And right now, not only, and everybody always talks about the $36 trillion that we owe. I got some news for everybody sitting out there. We owe another $8.5 trillion on top of that. That's the $8.5 trillion that the Federal Reserve has monetized that we are also responsible for. Okay? So, it's not just $36 trillion. It's actually $44 trillion. And that doesn't include the $200 billion in unfunded liabilities. That's climbing also. So, when we see things like paying Ukrainian influencers, paying kids to look at ads about food, or girl-centered climate action in Brazil, breakdancing research, censorship of conservative media. If you're a taxpayer, you're pissed. You're angry. I'm angry. Literally, every year, and I'll just kind of let you in, for me, for my businesses, okay, I pay taxes all year, okay? My accountant always asks for extensions. I got to pay a fortune, okay, just to have the privilege of filing my taxes, okay? These people have both hands in each pocket, okay? And I know I'm not the only one. They're nailing you too, And these are people who lose $824 billion at the Pentagon, and they're hunting you down for $600 that you might have cashed out somebody. Okay? These people are disgusting. They hate your family. They hate you. And now they don't even hide. They don't even hide it from you. Let me give you another couple of. I got two more for you. Do you like Sesame Street? I remember Sesame Street before they. I don't know if they're woke now. Does anybody know if they're woke? Did Sesame Street go woke? Well, they must be hurting because Sesame Street got $20 million from Congress to make a new Sesame Street. Now, Sesame Street has been around for many decades. It was a brilliant skit, okay, that was made. And the kids loved it. The parents loved it. It was kid-friendly. I have to imagine that Sesame Street, over the years, had to have made billions of dollars between advertising, everything, okay? Why are we giving Sesame Street $20 million? Couldn't we use that money any better? Maybe to feed a veteran or help somebody start a business or something? We have to give it to Sesame Street, for God's sake. This is how much contempt they have for you and your family. And I'm sure to get the 20 million, they probably have a lot of woke stuff in there like Disney, you know? Stuff that's anti-family, anti-human, right? So, I'll give you this last one. And this one, if you're a hunter, pay attention. I used to hunt. I remember going upstate New York with my uncle, and we used to love to hunt. Go deer. We used to hunt for duck and pheasant, all sorts of stuff. Beautiful, like upstate New York. One of the most beautiful places, I have to say, in the country. Well, guess what? You spent $720,000 for conservation of ducks in Mexico. So, you know, Mexico, I don't know if everybody's been to Mexico. Now, if you go to the tourist places, it's a little different. Go travel outside the tourist areas. These people live in complete squalor. Their police are completely corrupt. Their government's completely corrupt. It's a third world country down there. Trump was right to call them S-hole countries because they are. And it's not because of the people. Again, they misquoted Trump on that one. It's because of the government. They're corrupt. I mean, they're more corrupt than ours, if that's even possible. But are you telling me that we have to give Mexico, their worst problem is conserving the ducks, right? That's what we gave money for, your tax dollars. Did you vote for that? Can anybody tell me, did they vote? Did you vote to give Mexico $720,000? How about you put the $720,000 towards a real border fence? Also, all Trump has to do, okay, because I know Biden was selling the fence. All Biden has to do is say, hey, I need some volunteers to go to the border. Are you a licensed gun owner? Yes. Do you have construction skills? Yes. Can you get down there with equipment? Yes. Okay, we need you to start building walls and fences and protecting our border. And it wouldn't cost you a dime, Mr. President. Ask me, I'll go. And I bet you a lot of you would too. A lot of you would come with me. But no, we're completely out of control. We're going to spend God knows how much now to fix a problem that Biden made way worse. And so, you know, that's where we are on those fronts. Now, so again, in classic Trump form, I'll tell you, the way Trump goats people, it's the best. I mean, whether if you love or hate the guy, he knows how to really get the best of people. Because over the weekend, Trump had expressed interest in buying Greenland, okay? And he also implied he might take back the Panama Canal. Though that might be a negotiating tactic to buy it back at a good price. Now, here's the deal. When it comes to the Panama Canal, Trump is right on that issue, 100%. We had deals with Panama, and like every country that we go into these stupid pacts and deals, they broke the contract. Okay? Now, what are we going to do about it? You know, we're going to go and invade Panama for the canal? I don't know. I don't know what we can do. I mean, we don't buy a lot of stuff from Panama. What does Panama create? I don't even know. Does anybody know what Panama creates? So I don't even think tariffs would work on Panama. But there's one thing for sure. We cannot let China take the Panama Canal. If China took the Panama Canal and shut that canal, blow it up or do whatever, you're going to see global trade we're going to have an economic disaster taking place if that happens. So we really have interest in the Panama Canal. And so, yeah, so let's see here. What do we have? We have anything on here? Amy, okay. If we had money, we should use it for medical research to find cures. Stop big pharma making money. Send rockets. Okay, stop sending rockets going with astronauts. Use money besides medical research. Help elderly veterans. Fix highways. Stop giving to other countries. Stop handing people who lie so they don't work. Stop welfare programs. Poor Trump has a huge mess to clean up. Well, Amy, you said a mouthful there. Look, hey, Amy, listen. I know leftists, okay? They think they have a right to at least 20, 30, 40% of your pay. And they're going to sit home, and they are one-issue voters, okay? They believe they have a right to your stuff. And guess what? You know who's on their side? The government. State, local, federal, okay? Everywhere where they're giving out welfare programs to welfare king and queens. A lot of these people, they own their own homes, okay? They live better than you and me, in many cases, okay? And they feel they are entitled to what you have. And unfortunately, the way this is why democracies are horrible, okay? Whenever I see Fox News, democracy now, or CNN, democracy now. Look, the founders did not want a democracy because they understood democracies lead to mobocracies, right? When you get somebody addicted into a welfare trap, an entitlement trap, some sort of program, okay? They're traps. And what happens is that voter now becomes a one-issue voter. I am going to vote for the guy who's going to save my program. And what happens is, all of these programs start out with good intentions, like all socialist programs, right? We want to help this group, we want to help that group, right? But what happens is, they come up with these numbers, and they're always wrong. They're always wrong. Whenever you look at them create a new program, look at Obamacare. Oh, it's going to bring down costs. This is it. This is, it's going to fix everything in healthcare. All those people complaining about healthcare and costs, if you were alive before Obamacare, okay, and you don't see what Obamacare did to the healthcare industry, what it did to customers and patients, you were completely blind. You got to wake up. This thing literally robs and steals from you. Literally. Okay? And the Supreme Court, not only was Congress wrong to pass that piece of garbage, but the Supreme Court was wrong because in the Constitution it clearly states that the federal government cannot tax you directly. That's why the income tax is illegal. That's why the corporate tax is illegal. That's why Obamacare is illegal. Okay? They are not allowed to tax you directly. And, because the Supreme Court are made up of political shills, regardless which way you go, really. And if it's popular, they're going to do what's popular, right? So, unfortunately, Amy, we are going to be paying for a lot more people to sit home, especially now that the economy is finally ready to take a nosedive. The Dow is down again. I had several people messaging me, no shit, because they know I worked on Wall Street. They know my background, okay? They know what I understand. And they're like, hey, should I dump, my money guy? Because they're getting killed, right? And this is the thing, is that now the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, has come out and said, as he was lowering rates when he shouldn't have, but he did, short-term rates went down, but long-term rates went up, right? So if you're getting a mortgage or something like this, right, you're paying more. And the reason for that is because the banks understand that inflation is going to kill any profit that they're going to get, right? So right now, we're going to pay more, right? Prices are going up. The chairman, Jerome Powell, admitted, he said, look, we're going to have high inflation for the next 2 years. Really? Because I can remember when I was saying 5 years ago, we're going to have high inflation for the next decade. And people heard me, but they were like, no, that can't be true. No, because the media is telling me it's transitory. It's going to go. They got it under control. Well, the past 5 years, we've lost over 30% of our purchasing power. Okay? They literally, these crooks in D.C. stole 30% of your purchasing power. Okay? So all those people mad at the CEOs and all this going on, right, need to direct their anger towards Washington, D.C. To the people who sell themselves to those same CEOs, to the people who sell themselves out to the bankers, to Wall Street, to Wall Street, to the Pentagon, right? Those are the people you need to go after, D.C., right? Those crooks, because they're stealing from you. Obamacare destroyed medical disgrace. We all suffer as registered nurse. Am so angry with Obamacare. Amy, thank you for your work. Yeah, I mean, look, you're on the front lines, you see it. I mean, look, I talk about it all the time. My parents were able to get a local doctor, okay? Because you gotta remember, back then, even in New York, okay? The doctors knew you and your family, okay? Everybody had an eye guy. Everybody had an ear guy. Everybody had, the general practice doctor. And my doctor's name was Dr. Freed. And Dr. Freed knew the whole family, and he treated the whole family. And Dr. Freed would come to the house, and it was only a few dollars, $15. When I say a few dollars, I literally mean like $15 he would show up. And he'd have aspirin, and he'd give me a lollipop if I was a kid. If I hurt myself, I fall down a flight of stairs, whatever happened. We were kids. When we were kids, we actually went outside and did stuff. But in order to call the doctor, you had to be like, your arm was like, practically busted. They didn't call for a little scrape like they do today, running up prices. But, the doctor would come and he'd treat you. And if you needed further assistance, then he'd say, hey, go into the office or go to the hospital, right? Now, people go straight to the hospital. They use whatever medical they have, government medical. They rack it. Oh, my tonsil hurts. My thing, oh, I have a pain. And they go there and they jack up prices because, again, medical, like anything else, it's a commodity. There's only a limited resource of nurses and doctors and medicine. And so when you have government like Obamacare forcing all these people into the system, what happens is you jack up prices. Now, when I go to the doctor, there's actually several people that you see now before the doctor, okay? And they roll around with one of those computers now. And they ask me a list of 20 questions that have nothing to do with why I'm there. And one of the questions I know is, Bobby, do you feel like hurting yourself? And I always say, you know what, after this inquiry, yes, I actually do. Now I want to hurt myself. Can you get the hell out of the room and get the doctor, please? I mean, are you serious? This is what they've done to healthcare, okay? And for people who are on these programs, who don't pay in, it's great. Hey, I'm going to get free healthcare, But for the other side, for the people who are paying in, because I not only have to pay for my medical, I have to pay for someone else's medical, just like you guys. And this is crushing us. It's crushing the American people, right? Socialism is great until you actually try it out. 25 doctors came to your house, black bag. I don't know what the black bag is. Oh, yeah, with the black bag. You're right. Amy, you nailed it. You're right. They had the black bag. Yeah, and look, I don't want yesterday's technology. I just want yesterday's freedom and how far our money went. And with what they're doing in this country, is absolutely disgusting. And that's the purpose of what I'm doing here. Look, if you're tuning into one of those other channels, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, chances are, they're giving you their, saying, they're telling you what to be angry over. They're like, hey, this, that, the other. And they have their bent agenda, They're not going to give you both sides of it, They're not going to give you a story about, a Republican congresswoman who went missing for 5 months due to dementia, and then on the same thing, bring up a Biden dementia story. They're just not going to do it because they're all bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical industry, by, all the big industries that have bought the media. But if you like what you've seen and you like what I'm doing, please share, subscribe. I have the links in the description. Like, comment, share, please get the word out. Look, I'm a one-man band, just like any business I've started. I like starting from the ground. If it's successful, it'll go. I'm hoping with you it can be. We could be successful together. Hopefully in the future I could bring other people in on this, so I'm not a one-man band. But for right now, I'm doing it, and I appreciate you. I love you. God loves you. Listen, if you do anything, stand up for yourself. Stand up for your children. Stand up for your family. Don't let nobody disrespect you. And most of all, stand up for what you know is right. The Constitution, freedom, individual liberty. Help your neighbor. Let's not be selfish, but at the same time, let's not be foolish. I love you, and God bless, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.